Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show, where our mission is to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life. And you are back with us for a mini-sode, right, Andressa?
It is. It's a little shot of knowledge or something that is going on in our lives that we are excited about or not too excited about that we want to share with you. So fingers crossed we can get it done in less than 10 minutes.
Okay, so we are going to be talking about the power of market focus and why that's so important. There's a lot of chatter in our Facebook community, in our Strive membership, and a lot of people talk about which markets to get involved in, what markets to focus on, what are the best markets. And then you'll start asking them questions, Andressa, about where they're investing right now. And then you'll ask them, and they're maybe in two markets, and now they're looking to go into a third market or a fourth market or a fifth market. And there's reasons for that, right, Andressa? There's reasons for pivoting and shifting, of course, in states and markets that are just overpriced. You have to start to pivot or start to make some sense of your numbers. But there's such power, and I want to remind the women listening here, there's such power in when you're really getting focused on a market and what you can do when you really focus on one or two markets. So, and I don't know if you see that as well in your experiences.
Yeah, I think we can get overwhelmed, right? In a lot of markets. Oh, it's like the shine object. Oh, yeah. This market is better. This market is better. Listen, I'm the type of person that I'm going to make it right no matter what. But if we focus, it's just less quote unquote stress on our end, or you can analyze it. And then if you want to expand later on, I'm a big fan on trying and testing the water out and then expanding later on instead of putting like 5-10 markets that you are analyzing right now. It's crazy.
And this is so applicable, Andressa, to small deals or large deals, because we actually have experience in both ends. So just to share a little bit about an example of this. So when we got started and we got focused on buying multis, we bought 3 4 units. We bought two 4 units in a town called Ewing in New Jersey. And it was like our start where we learned landlording. These properties, there's so much deferred maintenance. I mean, there's a lot to those. I don't talk about those properties a lot, but there's a lot we learned and those have been sold. But what's interesting there is we bought those 8 units and they were on a block of all similar type of properties, right? Similar type of 4 units. So by the time it was about probably a span of 8 years we owned them or so, 9 years, we ended up owning about 20. And that was really our first opportunity of like leveraging resources, leveraging our staff, because we were self-managing everything, right? So we were sending our staff out there, the local electrician, the local plumber. I was doing all the showings for many years until we actually had some help. The cleaning, you could start to really make the long list when you're self-managing, or even a third-party management company, or hiring a third-party management company. There's such value in really focusing on one area. So why this is so important, I'm gonna give you some reasons, and then segue really quickly. We're doing the same thing in other markets, right? So it's not 4 units, but we're buying larger multifamily, 100 plus units in Kentucky, North Carolina. Investors actually partnered with DeRosa Group on these really exciting projects, DeRosa Capital 15. And it's the same type of thing where you start out, with maybe one building and it expands to, for us in Kentucky, over 1,000 units. So again, this is applicable whether you're literally buying a duplex and you want to go to a 10 units you're owning in that area, or large multi. I think this is a really helpful process and kind of thought process, whether you're getting small to large. So a few things. Number one, it's pretty obvious, but number one, what that gives you when you're really focused on a market is you're leveraging your time, you're leveraging other people's time. And I think we often forget about that. What's the big deal if they have to go here and then there? It really makes a difference, right? Because it takes time to travel. It takes time to do all these types of things when you're doing maintenance, deferred maintenance. You're working on, big capital expenditures of the building, or you're just doing some preventative maintenance, which a lot of people don't often do, right? That's probably the biggest thing that people forget often to do. So the leveraging part, the time of leveraging is so powerful when you're focused on a market. The other quick thing to think about is you can move very quickly on opportunities. You got to remember, in any kind of market, you have to move quickly on that opportunity, right? So meaning, you don't want to just, let me think about the market first. Let me do a little research on the market. It takes time to do that research and to really, but when you know the market, you know what the rents go for, what's a good deal, quote unquote, you can move quickly. And you can move quickly in a way that you can't always move quickly when it's a new market. I know I was presented with an opportunity recently here in our local town. And honestly, the time is going to take us to analyze. We didn't have the right team put together. It just kind of came out on our lap. And as a 20 unit over in our neighboring town. It was interesting to us, but I'm like, I don't know. We don't know that market yet, right? So that's going to take some time and energy. Not that it can't, not that I can't go figure it out, but everything takes effort. There's a cost to all of our time. So that's something to think about. Number 2 is moving quickly in opportunities when you know the market inside and out, and you know it like to the T. The other thing that just to think about and the power of is the leveraging your relationships with your vendors in your property management company if you're working with one. Just a quick example, we're leveraging our team so much in North Carolina that it's the construction team, because they go in to turn the units, what have you. So they're doing so much in our market, which is Winston-Salem, Andressa, that I don't know if I told you this, they actually are opening a satellite office. So the construction company, because there's so much work in that area that we're giving them, they're actually opening an office there. Now, again, is that going to happen if you have a duplex or a fourplex? Probably not. But that's the power of when you're working with vendors and you're working with companies who are servicing your buildings, small or large. That's what can happen, which is really neat. So don't you think they're going to work really hard with us, right? They're going to be even that much more committed to the building and to our team. Yeah, of course. Now they're opening an office. They're not going to just do that on a whim. So again, that's the power of like leveraging those vendors. And maintenance
and the
people.
Pricing too, Liz, for
and
the construction. You're buying bulk. You are doing multiple things. So it's just an opportunity to negotiate that price.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing to think about, especially when you're working with a property management company, is that when you're buying more in a particular market, you become more valuable to them. You also become more valuable to the brokers that you're working with, the realtor, whether it's a residential realtor or it's a commercial broker. Why I say you become more valuable is because you're not like a one and done type of investor. They want to work with people who are going to build out their portfolio. They're going to buy more properties with them or manage more properties for you, right? So you think about it, you're actually becoming more valuable to them. You're creating this opportunity where they're going to want to work with you more versus just buying that one building, buying that one property. And again, that makes a difference. Why does it make a difference? Because they're going to be looking out for you. They're your eyes and ears in that local market. And I can't tell you how many times our property management companies or the broker or like an insurance agent has brought us an opportunity because they know we're in that market. They know we're looking for more. We're establishing ourselves as almost like that resident expert, if you will, or investors that is there to stay there and not just go on to the next opportunity. That makes a difference. You become more valuable to the people you're working with. And they want to work with you more and bring you more opportunities. So keep that in mind. The fifth thing I wanted to mention, and most people don't think about this as well, is that everything, when you buy, there's going to be a sale, whether you're around for it or not, right? You may own the property for the lifetime of for when you're alive, but someone's going to sell that property at some point in the universe. And I can't tell you how much easier it is to sell when you're selling a portfolio versus a one property. You become a little more, you're opening yourself up to other investors. You're opening yourself up to maybe larger investors versus maybe the mom and pop who just wants to buy that duplex or just buy that fourplex. The buyer that ended up purchasing our 20 units, back to my original story in Ewing, wouldn't have bought a duplex, wouldn't have bought a one building. They wanted to buy more.
You mean the fourplex?
What's that?
You mean the fourplex
Yes.
in Ewing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you said 20 units.
They did. So they bought, well, we started with the 8, but then we grew. We actually bought more.
Oh, you bought all the, oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So they bought all the other
20.
one, the fourplex and plus the other one. So they bought the entire portfolio.
They bought the whole portfolio.
Gotcha. I was mixing up with the 20 unit that you were looking at.
Oh, I'm totally like going around and confusing everyone that's listening too. I do that very well. But the power of that, when you start to build out your portfolio in a market, is that it just becomes, especially if you're not selling a 20 unit, right? It wasn't a 20 unit, but it was 20 units on the same block.
Sure.
So that's very, very advantageous for investors. They also see that as a benefit. Oh, okay. I can go service all these at one time. I can go do the lawns all at one time. I can send out the maintenance guy all at one time. Investors don't want to waste time and resources, right? None of us want to waste time and resources. So you become that much more interesting and you open up possibilities to many investors when you're ready to sell. And again, when we bought our 4 units or 8 units, and then we didn't have this master plan to grow it to 20 units. We didn't have the master plan to sell them. But, I'm a big proponent of there's a time to buy and there's a time to sell. And it depends on the asset. There's assets that I never want to sell. My husband and I have talked about that. There's assets we want to buy all out of our investors and say, okay, how can we own this? Just him and I know. But there's other assets we're like, this is the time to sell, right? So, and as an investor, you always have that hat on, but you do have to think about the exit strategy. I don't care what you're getting involved in. You have to think about that. And if it's a long-term hold or 8 years is maybe the right hold time. So anyway, that's what I have for you. Really focus on where are you right now? Where can you leverage your time and resources? So many people do so much research on market analysis, and I think that's important, but I also am a firm believer of, are you in an area that you like and that's growing and it's a strong market now? Well, and how can you get more there and leverage what you know and your resources there versus just always just jump into the next market?
Yeah, I think that it's a really powerful tool when you really know the market as a palm of your hand. You know the pulse. So you can move quick, you can leverage everything. So I would encourage that until you know the market very well, don't start jumping several to know all of them. Know one very well, start getting, things moving there and then pass to the other one. Or choose to do that. But sometimes we are overachievers. We want 5-10 markets that we are looking to do that. Yeah. And that sometimes hold us back. So great insight. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this minisode. Let us know what you think. Bye. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.